Good evening everyone, welcome once again to the Nether, where everything is apparently always laggy. It's weird that way. Anyway, we have made a few changes since we don't have to worry about any of the villagers coming down here anymore. I have added an actual door here, so we can now access the pigman-filled crater whenever we want to. With luck we might actually be able to get one of those working at some point, but what's interesting is it actually seems to take out some of the support structure of the stronghold. Probably a good thing Minecraft doesn't profess to have realistic physics. Let's see if I got... Yep, still got this. I'm running out of tools that are actually still iron, but pickaxe was the first to go, unfortunately. I suppose that's the way. This is still working rather nicely, so I might expand this at some point. Yeah, another melon. I'll probably expand this as well, just so I can actually get some more food. But the main thing I have to talk about today is we have had some, shall I say, some rather disturbing breakthroughs. Which is that, firstly, I know I have an idea now for how to actually make an iron golem farm in the Nether, which is fun because there's no water here. But we also have had a few additions. Firstly, I've added a few more houses. I've also added a bunch more doors, but as you can see right through there, we've got a few wee ones running around. Let's see, we've got two in there. No, he's still lonely. He is tremendously lonely. I saw him trying to breed through a wall earlier. So, evidently test certificates don't have much of a nightlife, or at least that one doesn't. And, yeah, got a couple more in here. I actually got a librarian and a butcher in there, so interesting family makeup, to say the least. So I can quickly sort out this lag. Not quite sure what's causing all that. But, yeah, that's a decent frame rate for now, I think. Whoever gets this house must obviously be particularly infatuated with drugs of some sort. I've recently been doing some exploration around the place. Turns out we're not actually on the bottom floor, although it certainly looks that way from a lot of it. There are deeper areas, but I haven't explored them yet. The areas I've mostly been checking out are the upper levels, because the thing I've been in need of finding is a lava source, specifically one that I can, without risking my health much, yes, we have a lot of nether water around here, use as a lava plate so that I can kill off iron golems as they spawn, more or less. And that will allow me to safely manage to extricate the iron from them without risking it falling into the lava and being destroyed, or more alternative things. We do have a nice little area here with some glowstone, if I can ever find much use for that. So far, I think the lava in this lobby might be the best shot. But we also have, like, this is a fairly big stronghold. I have actually gotten lost around here a few times. It goes in some fair directions quite a bit. Just pop up here. Yeah, it was a terrible time when I first found this part, because there was about 4 or 5 ghast out here. And our home is around there, I believe. But our job for today is to isolate a lava source. I'm not sure if I'll use this one, because if it's here, then I have to lower all the floor to reach it, more or less, because the lava source has to be, I think it's like 3 blocks above the ground. So I'll be digging a lot more if I have to go through that one. So let's have a wander and see if we can find anything particularly useful. I should probably drop off this wood in case I die in a literal fire. Oh well. Yeah, might as well. Still got most of my armor. Oh yes, that's something. We do have a bit of a guest inside of the, I suppose we can call them residences, dormitories, I don't know. Which is, we've had more than one pigman turn up. So I figured I would just build a little place for them to live, and I think that's their native name. One of them mentioned it to me, but we'll see. They seem like reasonable folk. The villagers still are definitely afraid of them, but they seem like reasonable folk. Creepy noises, I'm going to have to get used to that. It's still kind of hard to get used to the sounds of fire and gas and all sorts. I suppose in more ways than one you don't really get used to hell. Let's see, wood. There we go. I'll keep this melon on us. Put that back. We might as well make a few more, a couple more at least, pickaxes. Something I've recently gotten in love with is shift clicking into furnaces, which makes things oh so much faster. But we don't need to do any of that just yet. The time is presently 4 minutes past 1 in the morning. So I'm continuing my trend, I suppose, of filming this series early in the day. But I'm a bit of a night owl, and there isn't really much concept of time here in the Nether. There's a nice lava source here, if I can find out where this comes from. It's above, which means I'll probably have to build a floor up to it, but it's right next to the villages as well, which is a slight advantage. Not necessarily in them wandering into it and dying, but in the advantage that it'll be a lot easier to actually build to it. Let's try and carefully not destroy it there. Let's see. If we're lucky, the piece I've just capped there is the source and not some gigantic lava pool I'm about to unleash upon us. But we shall see. Fence. Wow, we're getting a lot of lag today. Not sure what's doing that. And I've done it again. I've used a perfectly good pickaxe when I got one that's nearly broken. Aye. Okay, so just dig towards here, see if we hit anything. There it is. And we are in actual luck. That's exactly what we need. Okay, so let's see how we're going to do this. I'll dig around to it first so we can get to it. Whoop. There goes the old one. In with the new. Oh, some glowstone. Okay. Make sure we know exactly where it is. Bridge our way across here a little bit. Careful not to fall into the deep dark pit beneath it. Oh dear. That's less amenable than I was expecting. If it's on the roof, then I'm going to have to build an entire room around this. Which is not going to be pleasant with all these gas running around. There's been a significant buildup of gas. I've literally had to switch to peaceful and then back to easy just to clear them out because the noise was just absolutely abominable. Okay, so we want 3 blocks, and then here we want a fence, which I apparently didn't pick up. Well, let's get around here. Fairly close to our home base here, so we should have a rather easy time of coming and going, which is good because we're going to need this iron quite desperately. There we go. That's what we want to see, the stairs. And we could probably do with blocking this before I murder myself. There we go. There's the fence, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, now where is it? can't actually see where it is from here. So I'm going to have to go over here. Okay. Now I might as well pick this up. It's in the way I want. No fantastic harvest. Let's see, lava will flow 4 blocks, so there's 3. Here would be 4. So if I just stick that there for the moment. Get rid of this. Add just a little bit more flow protection. And then if this flows right to where I'm standing, which I will not be standing for much longer, then we have it just right. Whoop, nope, I was one short. So I'm going to cut that off now. And we don't have the iron to make a bucket, so we have to use a lava source in state, more or less. We cannot afford to just pick one up. Okay, so that's a bit more of a pain, but we should be able to deal with it. Okay, and the things I'm going to need to make are effectively a room more or less in line here, which means we basically need to expand this corridor over this direction. Just change the render distance again so we don't have to worry about the lag. We might as well get a kickstart on that now, before we have to worry about gas building up again. Oop. Have to go make some more pickaxes soon. Now the way... it's difficult to make an iron golem farm inside of the Nether, predominantly because we have currently no access to minecarts, but more predominantly because we have absolutely no access to water. It's like, even if I could somehow secure a water source inside of the Nether, be it in a bucket or whatever, we just could not use it because the moment we place it on the ground it will evaporate. So the problem we face there is that in most iron golem farms you have this big area wherein the golem can spawn, and he's then carried away by water currents to wherever you want to put him, really. But since we can't do that, we have to use a very different design, which is one I've had to cook up myself, which is painfully simple in hindsight, but not something most people have to think about. Ooh, look at that. Oh, did I pick up that fence? Oh. Okay, so we need to be a little higher up, but first we're going to expand so I can actually have the room I need here. And the way we're going to work this is that down here we'll have a holding pen into which the iron golems will fall through a pit from a large spawning area above us. But we're going to have to transport some of our new test certificates, which is, as it turns out, it's not that difficult. At least when you're in a rigid pick one of 4 directions kind of place like a stronghold, because you can just block off these sections you don't want them to go, and they'll eventually, often rather quickly, move in the opposite direction. So I think the hardest part was getting them to go up the stairs at the end of our basic corridor. Excuse me, I'll just take a big swig of this tea. I have this gigantic mug here actually for drinking tea. It's the sort of thing that you expect people to just buy as like a complete joke. It's probably about twice the size of most ordinary mugs, but I just use it anyway. It's called the Governor, and I like it. It's very nice, very helpful. How are we going to do this? Right, well, I'm going to need to put a slab there and a sign on the side of that. So just build this section out a couple blocks. Ideally, I should get this put up and enclosed as quick as I possibly can, because those guys are not going to be out of here for very long. And whilst I'm not strictly speaking set to the hardcore rules here, if I die I'll just respawn back in Blue Sands. I don't particularly want to leave villagers alone here in the Nether. The Nether won't be running much whilst I'm not in it, which is an interesting thing to think of philosophically. Hell doesn't exist as long as I'm dead. But yeah, ideally I would like to not leave them alone around here, because that's the last thing I need to do is leave a bunch of stooges, I suppose is the phrase, alone in what is effectively hell. So I'm trying not to die. So the last one we need to see is the death screen, and I'm getting a bit hungry. Ooh. 4 new trees, that's great. Exactly what I'm looking for originally. Oh, I got some more. Right, now they've changed this recently, that it used to just be the 3, but now it makes 6, which is very helpful. So let's make a bunch of those. And this is going to be part of the system that actually holds the golem in place, rather than just letting them wander. Because the way, since I can't have a water current actually shoving them anywhere, I need to sort of push them into the lava blade as vigorously as I can, more or less. I'd rather not just push an iron golem anywhere vigorously, but needs must. Okay, so if I get caught in some lava or some fire, or insult the wrong group of pigmen, I'm going to be in rather a bit of a bind. Because if I'm trying not to die, they'll certainly put an end to that. Okay, and a sign there. And that should keep the lava back rather nicely. If I unblock the thing. Okay. Tally-ho. Oh, balls, I didn't think this through. I did not. I've put this 1 block too low, which means that floor is going to be mildly inaccessible for the next little while. And I can't get rid of that because it'll blow the sign off and that will fall into lava. Ooh, I'm a bit of an idiot. Right, well, this lava is thankfully moving away rather quickly. So we should be able to get back down there in a few seconds. I hope. Columns always go away a lot faster than every other part of it. Right, well, this should be safe. Ow, my legs. Okay, now it should be safe. So let's just move this up another step. And put a piece of netherrack. And put a step. There we go. And the lava. I just had to expound upon my near-death situation whilst I'm stood directly behind lava. Hey. I'm a glutton for punishment, it seems. Okay, now that should work. Oh, for Pete's sake. How far out do I have to take this thing? Oh, there. Okay, so I also need to move it out another block. Oh, and that floor's going to be inaccessible for even longer now. It's very slowly going away. Alright. Well, the pieces up here have gone at least. Okay, thankfully I can... Can I get rid of that right now? Don't really need it, but then I've got a plethora of these. Ooh. How much do you want to bet this is going to be like the episode where I die the first time? Okay, let's just sponge this up. Lava has an interesting property when you... What the hell is it doing now? When you cut it up in a hex pattern like that, it decides to disappear a lot faster, usually. just raise this floor anyway, so... There we go. The reason we have to raise the floor to a reasonable height here is that the golems are 3 blocks tall, and we need to reduce the amount of them that's in the lava as much as possible to ensure that we don't accidentally incinerate their valuable iron drops. So I can't just use a big honking lava blade, I actually have to use a small and thin one that just barely touches them, more or less. Backing up, backing up, backing up. Attempt number 3. Oh god, I've killed us all. Go away. I swear this was a lot easier outside of the Nether in my test world. If I am lucky, this will not somehow make it over to the stairs and go down to the villages. But, knowing my luck, I'm not sure I put much stock in that. And also... my picks have just brought out. There's also been a spate recently of, I think it's issues with possibly multiplayer, possibly with the Nether in general, where if you're stood over lava, be it on a bridge or something else, you will somehow still catch fire. And whilst I am wearing armor, that's not exactly something I'd like to experience for the time being. So I'm going to do my darndest to avoid that. Thankfully, Netherrack is something we can break down more or less with our bare hands. Well, that probably has some implication as to what the thing, well, as to what it actually is. Okay. I'm gonna jump down there now. More or less. Oh, for Pete's sake. It's like, I swear this is actually trying to spike me somehow. Lava everywhere. Right. Well, it's going to take absolutely forever for this to clear up, but I'm afraid we're running a bit low on time here at 20 minutes so far, more or less. Eesh. So it's going to take me a little bit of a while to clean this up, more or less, at least without incinerating myself. Thankfully, it's more happy to go over the sides than it is to head for our villagers. See, we cut them into quarters like that. Works quite nicely. I need to find some way to... oh dear, I'm out of blocks. I would use the nether brick, but I can't break that up. That poses a bit of a problem, because I can't break this apart and get it back. So... I just refresh this so I can get some reasonable speeds. Okay, well, I actually need to try and leave this lava now. Ugh. I swear this will be the episode where I die. Whew. Okay, for a fairly laggy situation, that was not so bad. I'll grant. Let's put more torches down here, make it look a bit more homely. One thing I have considered is putting half slabs over all of the nether brick floors, or just replacing them outright with nether brick. Well, with slabs. Because that will prevent anything like zombie pigmen from spawning around here, and that will mean I can do a lot more without having to worry about hitting them. Accidentally or otherwise. Let's drop that there. And now we need to make a few more pickaxes. Lava usually only flows 4 blocks from the source. I may be miscounting somewhere. That's something we can check out when I get back up there. And since I'm about to go below the point where we'll actually be healing, let's have a bit of a nibble and see how much of it. That's another problem. Is my main building material that I can actually generate is wood, which burns, and the Nether is full of fire. Eee. Oh, this hasn't gotten much better, has it? Well, it'll be another few seconds. Whoa! Spreading. Okay, let's cover this in our hex pattern. Crouch moving like a boss. Or a foreman in this case, I suppose. It's probably a good thing that we're on this kind of ledge area, because otherwise I'd probably already have been swamped with lava. Some of these are sticking around a bit longer than I'd like, but there isn't much I can do about that. Lava is by far the most dangerous and time-consuming object to remove in this game. Right, well, the lava's cleared up there, so let's get that sign back. And extend yet another piece. So very happy I haven't had a block back here. Now if this is willing to behave, we might actually get this to be the right distance. What are we doing here? Okay, well let's have a hole right underneath this. Bring over the edge here. Good. That'll hopefully make it a bit easier to clean up if this actually goes wrong again. Jump, 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 jump. Stairs will be the first thing I add here. Right, attempt number... I have no clue, nor do I particularly want to keep counting at this rate. Okay. Now what's it going to do? Is it only going that far? Okay, we may have found the golden point. Yep, I believe that is exactly as far as this lava is going to go. We'll keep the pieces on the side. And from here, so we've got 1, 2, and then this point here will be our new floor. We'll put our unfortunate iron golems. But that, I'm afraid, is more or less what we have all we have time left for here. Let's just take a look at how people are doing here. Sorry, you're not going out. Oh, we have a... Well, I suppose a young priest is probably the most useful thing for these guys right now. I added a bunch more of, about 20 more just superfluous doors for them. I wanted to make sure that they actually could breed before I tried sinking all my help into them. Oh, our librarian is where. He might come in handy if we find a library around here somewhere. Well, look like how books survive in here, but wood doesn't, I don't know. I still don't have any way of automating this. I can't have pressure plates on the floor here. Well, actually, pressure plates might work. I'll have to try that out later. But if you have any suggestions, my basic plan at the moment is to get the iron golem farm working, so I can have a few of them roaming the halls, keeping things like Blaze and Pigman out at bay. And then maybe redoing the floor, making the place look a bit pretty. But I don't actually have that many plans as far as what else to build inside of this series. The Iron Golem farm is the most obvious thing to make, just to get the supplies running a bit better. And I could improve the tree farm and the melon farm here. But if you have any suggestions for things I could try to do to occupy the time here between attempting to get home and all that. Or indeed, see what else I can try to manage inside the Nether with only the materials I have available. By all means, leave a comment or send me a message. You can try remembercomics at gmail.com, which is the channel's own little webpage. Or you can leave a comment on the webpage on Remember. But that's all for now. Next time I'll probably have gotten a fair bit more done with that floor, so we can start building the building the actual spawning chamber, and maybe start moving in the villagers. But for then, you'll have to wait for next Saturday, and I shall see you all then. Goodbye.